Okay, so in this video, we are going to create our first ever class. All right, so you ready? All right, so I'm going to say new Java. All right, I'm going to say public class, and we're going to create a Pokemon class. So we're going to do public class Pokemon. I'm going to do curly braces, and I'm not going to put anything in here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And Pokemon.java. So the name of your class in Java always has to match the name of your file. So if you have a class called Pokemon, it needs to go into a file named Pokemon.java. All right, so there we go. We now have Pokemon. Okay. Now you're probably saying to yourself, okay, I don't really know what the point of doing that is or what I would use it for, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so now we're going to create another class. Okay, and this will be like the classes you created in 106 and other classes. So we'll just call this one main. And in here, this is where we're going to have our public static void main function where we're going to actually do all of our stuff. Okay. Now in this class, in IT 206, all right, they refer to this class right here, this Pokemon class that we're making, as the data definition class, okay? And then they refer to the class that has the main function in it as the implementation class, all right? Those are not standard terms. I don't know where those terms came from, but it's used throughout IT 206, so I just wanted to make you aware of what that terminology was, okay? So in pretty much all of your assignments and everything that we do, you're going to be creating at least two classes. You're going to have this class, and sometimes there will be more of these. This is your data definition class. So this is the class that's going to like do all of the cool, interesting stuff. And then your implementation class is going to be the class that has the main method in it. Okay. But at any rate, all right. So now we have our main method. So we're going to create an instance of our Pokemon object. Okay, so the way that you do it is you have to list the data type. So if I was going to create a string, right, I would do string s. So I do the data type that I want, so string, and then I'd make up a variable name, so like s or whatever, and then I would instantiate it to something. Okay, so this is called creating an instance. So I'm creating an instance of a string object, and I'm setting it to this value. Okay, likewise, I can create an instance of a variable. I can create an instance of an integer, call it a, and I could put in, the number 89 or whatever. Okay, so now, because I've created my own, I'm not using strings and I'm not using integers, I've created my own data type called Pokemon. I'm going to say Pokemon, and again, this is the data type, Pokemon, and then I'm going to create a variable name, so P1 or whatever you want to call it. And then you're going to use the new keyword, so equals new, and then the data type again. Okay? So you see that the data type is listed here, and it's listed here. Okay? So Pokemon P1 equals new Pokemon. Okay? All right, now I should be able to compile this. All right, if I save it. All right, you'll see it compiles just fine. Okay? Now, if I run it, it's not going to do anything because I'm not doing anything with this Pokemon object, okay? So see how I ran it and nothing happened, all right? Well, so maybe let's go ahead and print out the Pokemon object. So let's do system.out.println P1, okay? So now if I compile and run this, all right, you see that it prints out this kind of weird, it says Pokemon at, and then some weird looking hexadecimal kind of thing, okay? So we're going to get into fixing this so that it does something more useful in a future module. But for right now, okay, this is telling us that, yeah, you actually do have a Pokemon object. Now, again, you're probably saying to yourself, Professor Heaton, this is stupid. What is the point of this? This Pokemon doesn't do anything, okay? And you're absolutely right. So let's actually make it do something, okay? So in here in Pokemon, this is where we can create our custom class, our custom data type. So a Pokemon, let's say in our case, we want our Pokemon to have a name, okay? So I'm just going to put string name. Okay? And I'm not even going to set it to anything. Okay? And then Pokemons have a type. So there's like fighting type and grass type and electric type and stuff like that. So I'm going to do string type. Okay? And that'll be good for right now. Okay? So now we have added some information into our Pokemon class. So I should be able to save this. Okay? Saves it. It compiles just fine. All right? And now what I'm going to show you is if I go over here into main, okay, watch what I can do, okay? I can, now that I've created my Pokemon object, I can do p1.name equals Pikachu, okay? And I can do p1.type equals electric. Okay? And you'll see, again, I probably should have kept in my print statement, so let me just put it back in. All right. If I were to compile and run this, okay, you'll still see that it doesn't really do much. It's just printing out this random thing, but you'll notice that I didn't get any compile errors, okay? And in fact, I can change my print statement, so instead of just printing out the P1, the Pokemon object, okay, I could do this. I can say system.out.println p1.name system.out.println p1.type. And in fact, let's actually make it, we'll do it like this. Pokemon's name is, and we'll add in a plus, and then we can do Pokemon's type is, okay, and all right, so if I compile this and run it, okay, you see, look, all right, so I created this new Pokemon instance, okay, so that's another terminology thing, all right, so this file right here, this is my Pokemon class, okay, this right here, P1, is an instance, okay, or an object, a Pokemon object. So P1 is an object or an instance of the Pokemon class, okay? And the Pokemon class defines certain things here, this name and type. These are called class attributes. So in other words, an attribute of a Pokemon is its name or its type, okay? Sometimes we refer to these as variables, okay? But attributes is the proper object-oriented name, okay? And over here, okay, in this P1 instance, or this P1 object, all right, we set the attributes to specific values, okay? And so I printed out the values here, Pikachu and Electric. Now, because I've created this class for Pokemon, I can now create as many Pokemons as I want, okay? I could create Pokemon P2 equals new Pokemon. And I could set different values. So I could do p2.name equals, I think there's one called Raichu. I'm not sure what its type is, but somebody can probably tell me in the comments. We'll make it flying. Okay. I could do Pokemon P3 equals new Pokemon. Okay. And p3.name equals, there's one called Yveltal. I know that. Okay. I don't know what type it is, but it's like a big flying thing, so it probably is flying. I'm just going to say it's flying. Okay. And so now what I've done is I've created kind of a reusable piece of software. Okay. This Pokemon is reusable in that I can create as many of these Pokemon instances and set them to different values as I want to. Okay. And I could go in here and I could copy this stuff right here if I wanted to. So I could see that I, in fact, have different Pokemon objects. Okay, now I need to change this from P1 to P2. Okay, and I'll change this to P3. Okay, so if I save this and run it, you'll see that I've got all these different Pokemon now. Okay, well, I've got 3 different ones. So I've got a Pikachu electric, I've got a Raichu flying, and I've got an Yveltal flying. Okay, now, again, this is our very first object, so I didn't want to make it too complicated, but you can imagine I could put in all kinds of variables in here if I want to. Okay, I could put in the number of health points that it has, and its different abilities, and a color for it, and a description of what it does, and what it evolves into, and all that kind of stuff. I could keep track of all of that with different variables here inside this Pokemon class, okay? And then in here is where I actually use the Pokemon class to do something interesting, okay? So that's sort of the very, very basics of creating objects, and we're going to get, as this class continues, we're going to get more and more complicated as to the kinds of things that we do with these objects.